What's going on, everybody? This is Travis with the Spoon from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. I do apologize for being late, but we end up having a we end up having one of our clients inside of our boot camp class actually end up finishing out a little bit late. So it's actually cool to be able to talk to her and see what was going on with it. What's going on, Indigo Gold? I hope everything's going well with you. Hopefully your trading day was very well today. Um, but like always, this is the first time this is the first time that we've met this week. No, we met yesterday right around 9 o'clock. Um, this is the first time where we've seen that the market actually ended up making a pop to the downside the thought process, um, based off of the thought process that we end up putting together when it came down to our trading plan. So I want to see how the market's kind of going to end up reacting. End up making profit today. Did not make as much as I truly wanted to, but I ended up making profit today. It was a good, solid day. Now we got to put everything else in place and see if we can be able to find some other opportunities so we can be able to go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education. And from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it is not promised that you end up making money today. Now, I'm going to preface everything that I'm going to end up saying by saying this. I want to go to bed. like I can feel my eyes just like, hey, fall asleep, fall asleep, fall asleep. I don't know if y'all have ever had, I'm pretty sure everybody's kind of had that feeling, but I've been legitimately talking all day to students and basically my body just said, hey, it's time. So I'm going to try to see if I can get through every pair, kind of breeze through that, answer everybody's questions. Uh, but ultimately, I think today is probably going to end up being a shorter session overall. One, because of the movement, but two, because I'm probably just going to cut it short because it's time to be able to kind of lay down just a little bit. But let's take a look at what's happening with the economic calendar, what happened earlier today, and what's going to end up happening a little bit later on. Earlier, we end up having some news from President Lagarde, and we also end up having something from Chair Powell, Jerome Powell. What ended up happening was that we ended up seeing the durable goods came out. We ended up seeing that the XPX 500 actually ended up falling down a little bit when it came down to its movement as well. But there wasn't really no true effect to the market when it came down to like bad news. It was just that from a charting perspective, the market was ready to be able to make a move, and on some of these pairs, we actually ended up making that move. We ended up having new home sales. New home sales actually were worse than what ended up happening over the previous month, even though it is in green. Uh, and in 14 minutes, we're going to end up having retail sales. Going into tomorrow, we're going to end up having President Lagarde speak again, and then after that, we're going to end up having Chair Powell speak again at 10:15 a.m. So please keep that in mind. Remember, when Jerome Powell speaks, the market moves. It always remains to be the same. Keep your eyes out on what he says and what time he's going to end up saying it. All right. You should be in the bed. What's up? Okay. Instead of doing all that, you gonna say hey to everybody? All right, come on. Make sure you end up saying hey to everybody. Your hair look like mine. Just aside from that, say hey everybody. Hey everybody. Here we go. Let me get some water real quick. There you go. You good to go? Huh? Don't take the water to your room. You can go to the kitchen and drink it. All right? You said what up? All right, there you go. All right, go ahead and finish that water, then go upstairs. Let's see. Basically, Indigo Gold said, hey. He said, hey. All right, here we go. So, oh man. For Five Type, what's going on? I hope I said that right. I hope I didn't butcher that name. Hope everything's going well with you as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the big three real quick. I'm gonna go through these very quickly because there really wasn't any moves that I was truly excited about when it came down to that. I'm gonna start off with gold. I'm gonna start off with oil because it's the first thing they end up showing. We end up taking a profit at 77.11 a little bit earlier. Currently, right now, the market is basically making a U-turn, or it seems like it's about to start making a U-turn, but there's no true counter trend line break. Because of that, and because we are still inside of this channel, I am not interested in being able to take a trade on oil nor the Canadian dollar until this market actually ends up breaking outside of this long-term channel that we end up getting to the downside. Once that happens, then what will probably end up happening is that, once that happens, what will probably end up happening is that oil will end up gaining in value over time, all the way up to about $95 a barrel. The reason why I'm saying $95 a barrel is because that typically when you end up seeing a bearish King's Crown, you will see that based off of the left tip or the left side of the market when it actually started making that full ABCD movement, which was right here. You will end up seeing that typically the market will retrace at least back up to that area before being able to make a decision on if it's going to fall or keep on going up to the upside. So I am interested in being able to buy. I'm not interested in being able to buy as of yet, but when I do buy, my take profit that I'm going after will be right around $95 a barrel. And then from there, whatever happens is whatever happens. But ultimately, there's no move on oil right now. Gold, for the people that end up taking profit on gold yesterday, congratulations on that, obviously. But we end up having a trade that we end up getting into on Thursday of last week, I believe. No, Friday of last week, where we end up getting in at 1658 with a take profit of 1615 for the overall movement. I ended up getting out of 1620 yesterday. I had a thought process of if we end up getting a continuation trade or a counter trend line break, I'll be interested in being able to get into that. Unfortunately, I did not catch the counter trend line break movement, but currently right now the market is at 1625. There is an expectation that the market could continue to finish that overall move and go to 1615 ultimately for the movement to the downside. If you are interested in being able to do that, I would say take a look at the 15-minute. Wait for the 15-minute to be able to get to a high price, and then after that, look at being able to take a sale. But currently, right now, there's really no trade that I would look at being able to get into at this particular point. Last one, let's go ahead and talk about the United States dollar index. United States dollar index is very simple. The weekly D extension has been hit on the United States dollar index. What that means to me is that there's no trading until there's actually a fractal high that's being created. So that means that I probably will not trade a US based pair until the market actually ends up breaking, making two candlesticks over to the right hand side, or for at least 2 weeks of downside movement. Now, once that happens, then after that, I'll be interested in being able to take a trade from there. All right, so United States dollar, I'm not doing anything with. Oil, I'm not doing anything with. Gold, I ain't doing anything with. Now, let's talk about the trading pairs that I am interested in being able to make a move off of. The first one that I want to get right into is DAX. And the reason why I want to get into DAX is because earlier this morning, we ended up talking about a trade to the downside when the market ended up breaking below 12,160. Type in me if you end up taking that trade this morning, or if you was able to take advantage of that trade this morning when it came down to that movement. Ultimately, if you did take a trade to the downside based off of that, you had an opportunity of being up right around 185 points before the market actually started to retrace a little bit. If you are in currently, you'll be up right around 60 points at this point. But now we go into the continuation phase of this overall movement. Currently, right now, the market is in the sell zone of the 15-minute, which means that we have a good chance of being able to see this market potentially fall down. There has not been a true counter trend line break as of yet, so I am not interested in being able to jump in yet until the market breaks a counter trend line break. Now, once that happens, I'm going to place my stop loss inside of the consolidation. I probably might end up going just a little bit higher than the high volume node that was previously made off of that. It will probably end up being right around 12,240. which means that I'm giving up about 200 points. I know typically I don't like giving up 200 points when it comes down to this overall risk, but the reward on this one will end up going down to 11,400. Now, the reason why I got 11,400 is that if you take a look at the hourly in which we used to typically when we end up looking at it, we end up taking a look at it based off of the hour. There's no information that we can be able to work off of. There goes the counter trend line break. Now let's go ahead and get right into it. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and look at being able to get into the sale now. Let's see. I am this day active order right now as we speak. I'm about to take this order sale. I'm going to take at 12,083 stop loss. I have 12,180, which will be risking 100 points, and it'll be just inside. If you want to be a little bit higher, you can go up to 12,240. Take profit will be at 11,400 for that overall move. You're interested in being able to take that price. This is a market order right now and being able to jump in. So I'm taking that right now. I'm going to pace out those numbers one more time, and we end up going from there. All right, just took the trade, but let's see. Once again, I am. Here's my short position. So currently, right here, stop loss. You can go either 240 just above the overall high volume node pocket, so it has to fight all the way back inside. But if it goes back inside of this consolidation high, then that means that it's going to break. It's going to break inside of consolidation anyway. So 12,180 will be the stop loss. That means that you're risking 100 points to be able to go after take profit, which will be at 11,400. I believe that we are in a strong vortex area, and because we are in a strong vortex area, if this market gives us a little bit more of a continuation move, that we could see that this market could potentially fall 600 points off of this. Now, keep in mind, typically when we end up having vortex trades, they typically end up getting done between 1 to 2 days. This is the first time that I've seen DAX have a very large vortex area to be able to go after. When I'm saying vortex, I mean it's low volume node area, but I am here for it. If it keeps on moving to the downside, then I'm going to keep on making profit off of it. We've done very well with DAX over time, so I like what I see. But ultimately, the reason why I got those numbers, that 11,400 was the natural support that has been shown since 2018. Well, since 2018 to October 20. Well, basically back to October 2020. So if it falls down inside of that area, it's basically falling off of an area that was a strong support level before. So I expect for it to be a strong support level again. So when it falls down, I think that people will start looking at being able to buy it back up at some point in time. So I want to get out before they do. I want to get out before they get in, if that makes sense. Okay, so that is an active trade. I ended up taking a trade on this one earlier today. End up bringing in what, about $2,000 off of this movement earlier today. Hopefully we can be able to finish off on this movement. I really do like what I see off of this one. All right, now if that is happening, then that means that US 30 is actually happening as well. So I'm going to look at US 30 and try to hurry up and get into that one so everybody can be able to have an opportunity to be able to take a look at both moves. Where's my US 30? Okay, don't need to look at that again. All right, here we go. US 30. I'm going to make sure I end up getting in off of this one. Okay, I am in on US 30. So US 30, what ended up happening off of this movement? Same deal. We end up taking a look at this trade. I end up saying two options to everyone on this one. The first one was that you could be able to get in when the market ended up breaking below 29,260. 29,260 was the new support low, or the new low volume node that you could be able to get off of when it came down to that trade. I was very much interested in being able to take that movement to the downside, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. Everybody give me one quick second. I want to make sure that I have it on my large account. I don't think I placed it in on my large account. I'm almost certain that I did, but we'll talk through it real quick. All right, so Market fell. When the market fell below, market ended up falling to the downside or popping up to the upside. It was basically right here when we looked at it earlier this morning. I end up saying that if the market end up falling below these lows of 12,260, then I'll be interested in being able to take a trade. But I also end up taking a look at a sale right at the top at 29,670. I ended up catching a trade at 29,670, but I got spooked out when the market ended up pushing right back up to the upside. And when I ended up taking profit off of this halfway move, I had another pending order up here that never got filled. So I'm mad. I'm mad that I didn't catch that high trade because I would have been up around 600 points already. But the market is ready to be able to make another sale to the downside. What's going on, Block? And we can go ahead and look at being able to do that as an instant trade. So stop loss on this one. Currently, the market is at 29,082, and we know that US 30 moves very fast. So I'm gonna hurry up and try to place in a stop loss. I'm gonna say 29,280. I need to hurry up. Let's see, 280. Take profit off of this one is the same number that we end up having earlier this morning, 28,520. Come on, 28,520. Okay. We're going big fish hunting. If we're going big fish hunting, then that means that I'm going over 5% too. Brian, you got spooked on the move, or you took the trade? Did you get spooked on that top side move, or did you or are you still in that trade? If it breaks this low, then I mean, Lord knows what this movement's going to end up being. You got spooked. Yeah, yeah. I got caught up in it. I was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to be by my computer, so I can be able to get back in. I think that this wick right here that ended up happening, I had my sale order at 29,670. It went to 29,677, and then sit up there and fail. And I was like, come on, that's some crap. I was like 3 points away from being able to get triggered into a 600 point move. Uh, it just didn't happen that way. But I don't know why I got out of it. My stop loss was definitely high enough to be able to take it, but it is what it is. Still made money off of it. I made money off of the movement when it went down here, and I ended up making the money off the movement when it was inside of that area. So we'll see how everything kind of plays out on this one. But once again, just took an order on that one. Uh, I literally just took an order on that one. Stop loss. I'll go ahead and get that one set up for everybody to be able to see again. Um, Short position currently right now, if you want to be able to take it, stop loss will end up being at 29. I got hold on, let me go back real quick. Uh 29,280. 29,280 is the stop loss. Take profit on this one will be at 28,520. I hope this is one of those trades to where you go to sleep and it just hits take profit. You wake up and you end up making money. You just wake up the money. That's always some of the best feelings in the world. I don't know. I know everybody kind of has those trading days and stuff like that, especially with automated systems. But when you end up placing in a trade, you already know that you feel like you're in a good position. And if the market basically agrees with you and you wake up to see that you're already in profit, or you wake up to see that the profit end up hitting and you're done with that trade for the day, that's some of the best days in the world. But yeah, there we go. That is a trade for everyone right now. 15-minute, I would say be aware that the 15-minute is getting close to being in a buy zone. So anytime that you end up having a huge retest of that movement, anytime that you end up having a huge breakout, there will be a retest of that movement. If you want to wait to try to see if you can be able to get half of that movement back up, then you could possibly be able to do that. For the people that are in right now, I think that we're in a solid position overall. It will have to break above the swing high, and have to break above the swing high. And for some reason, the buyers will have to be able to come inside of the market and be ready to be able to push it all the way back up. I just don't see that happening yet. I just don't see that happening yet. The market sentiment is too scary at this point to the downside that I would see somebody looking at being able to jump in. I didn't mind taking profit and not losing what I gained. I made most of my money in my sleep. There it is. That's the reason why we do all this hard work at night, so we can sit up there and actually go to sleep and feel confident that the market is going to move that way. Takes a little bit of time to be able to do it, but it's definitely worth it. Let's take a look at NAS 100 real quick. Let's see what's going on with that. NAS 100 is inside of the consolidation box. We can see that strong movement to the downside as well. The breakout point on this one is still at 11,880. I'm sorry, 11,185. Take profit is 11,100, but I feel like this has more movement to be able to go. I end up getting that number based off of the support level right here, based off of what ended up happening in June, in the June consolidation box from June 16th to June 20th. But I think that there's more room to be able to go on this one. Let's see. I'll go to the daily. Let's see. Currently right now, where are we at? Okay, currently right now we're right here. I could make a case for the market doing something to the extent of falling down to here today. 10,980. The reason why I'm saying that is because support, resistance right there. And if everything else is going to fall with force, then I will almost accept to agree that this is probably going to end up falling with force as well, if that is going to end up being the case. I just don't hope for any funny business to where we end up having its shoes drop to the downside. Now you end up having buyers end up buying it back up to the upside. The only thing that I don't like about this is that obviously our support is right here, and right here. This market will have to fall down another 45 points before I would even be interested in being able to take the trade. Unless we're saying that that is the natural support right there. And these are all the breakout areas. This will be a more of an aggressive move. If you're looking at being able to take the trade right there, this will be more of a conservative move if you're getting into the movement right there. On breakout trades, I'm always more conservative when it comes down to where you want to get out at. So with that being said, the question is, should I take the trade or should I set up the trade? Entry 11,190. Take profit 10,780 or 10,980. Stop loss will be above this previous high volume node at 12,260. Risk reward will be 1 to 2.8. If that does happen, I like that risk reward factor. I would be very cautious to be able in looking at being able to get out right around 11,100 as one of those partial profit places. I got him placing a trade because if US 30 and DAX falls the way that if they fall the way that I kind of expect, then we should expect that Nas is going to do the same thing as well. So I'm going to place in that trade as well. All right, so short pending order. Entry will be at 11,180. 190. Stop loss 11,260. Take profit. You can go two different take profits. You can go at 11,100, or you can go with 10,980. I'm gonna write down 10,980. I will have an alert at 11,100, and then after that, I'll make my decision from there. I'm not gonna risk as much as I typically do, and we end up going. I'm not gonna risk as much as I typically do, but I'll probably go with 3% on that account. What do you think that your average risk reward is per trade? Average is always 1 to 2.3. Always 1 to 2.3. I always try to stay above 1 to 2.3. Reason being is, and I think I've said this before, let's say if you're risking $100, you want to go out to $230. The $100 means that you're basically covering how much you could have potentially lost. Another 100 will end up being the profit that you would get, and the 30 of that will end up being covering up taxes. So I look at it from all three perspectives when it comes down to taking those trades. I want to be able to pay myself. I want to be able to pay Uncle Sam, who's not really an uncle to me, but he still keeps on pulling money out of my pocket. And I want to be able to have money for the next trade that I would be risking. Good question. Last one. Let's take a look at XPX 500. Unless anybody has another pair that y'all would like to be able to take a look at, being able to go from there. All right, so I thought dead uncles leave money, not take. Unfortunately, this uncle was like, "Hey, man, I need that." So this will be a part of the continuation portion of this trade. End up taking a sale at 36. I think it was at 36.40. And then from there, obviously we have this movement that is happening right now. The only thing that I do not like is the 15 minutes getting closer to the buy zone. And if we take a look at the 2 hour, the 2 hour is probably in the buy zone as well. But ultimately, all of these are showing signs that they're below the B finally, and we're getting into the push zone, which means that it's go time. Whether you like it or not, it's go time when it comes down to being able to make these movements. So I'm going to take a trade off of this one as well. And whether from right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel comfortable with what I see. And we end up going from there. So trade on this one, taking a trade to the downside on this one as well. I need to hurry up because I would like to be able to make some money off of this one. Entry will end up being instant. Stop loss, I'm going to go above the swing high. The swing high is at 36.63, about 30 points from this overall movement. I'm going to give it a little bit more room. I'm going to say 36.70 as a stop loss. Now, if it pops back up, then obviously we'll take the loss and just keep on moving forward. But we end up, I like what I end up seeing off of that. XRP, I'll take a look at XRP. XRP has more, does the XRP have more trading volume than Bitcoin at this particular point in time now? I think I've seen something that ended up saying that. Take profit on this one. I got the D extension off of this one is 34.65. That is from a Fibonacci perspective. Now, if we take a look at from a charting perspective, just in general, and we look at pivots, oh, thank God, we do have it. Okay. 3,500. 3,500 would be the exit area. This is a market order right now. 3,500 will end up being that area where I would like to be able to get out. I believe that it could hit the D extension, but I'm not going to end up risking. Um, well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. We're leaving from this high volume node right here, which means that more than likely it'll get to this high volume node right there. The safer route will end up being able to get out at 3,500, but there's a D extension at 3,465. So makes you think a little bit. Uh, I'm gonna go with my first instinct. 3,500 will end up being a take profit. 3,500 will end up being a take profit. But if I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel comfortable with that. All right, trade has been triggered in, so we're good to go. So we got our four. We got our four moves that we typically end up taking a look at when it comes down to those entries. Hopefully, everything works out well when it comes down to all of those trades, and being able to go from there. Hopefully, hopefully we can continue the overall momentum that we done had over the course of the last few days as well, and hopefully there's no funny business overnight. I don't like funny business overnight. This the stuff that you cannot control because your eyes are closed. If that makes sense, we can go with trail stops on this, but I'm not going to put a trail stop on all these on these big moves. There's too much. There's too much money at stake if we end up getting it right. The last thing I would want is to be able to lose money on a potential movement because we only made 30 something points off of a 800-point move or something like that, just because we were scared to not give it any room. Let's see. Short position. Currently, right now, there goes the move. Stop loss is at what, 36.70. Take profit is at 3,500. I experienced the first bit. Everybody's experienced funny business one time before. Um, Block, do you mind if I share the conversation that we end up having a little bit earlier? If you don't want me to say something about it, I'll leave it alone. But I'm going to talk about it from my end. So, talking a little bit earlier, and I was talking about some of the trades we ended up taking earlier this morning, and we ended up having a conversation on um, of being inside of a trade, and then after that, either walking outside of a building or doing something else, or going to use the bathroom, or going to get something to eat, and then right during that time, typically that's when all of the trading action ends up happening, right? And now it's like, okay, well, dang, if I would have sat there for another minute, or if I would have just kept my eyes on the chart, or in my case, it literally seems like every time I go to pick up my kids or drop off my kids somewhere, the market just goes haywire. Like every time, uh, and like literally, the market just sits up there and falls. OG is in the building. Veggie drivers in the building. OG, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hope everything's going well with you. Please tell me you end up taking the trade. Please tell me you took those trades that we took early this morning. And are you on the road? Are you home or are you on the road? Not much, man. I hope everything's going well with you. It look like they be looking through my webcam. I don't know. Uh, Sometimes that's the reason why I be wanting to turn off my Google Home, because I think my Google Home be basically lying on me, or basically be saying, "Hey, he's gone now. He's gone now. Go ahead and move up the market, or go ahead and push the market down. Stop him out real quick." Like, God, Lee. Oh man. Um. So, let me take a look at XRP. We end up with XRP today. Um. And then from there, I'm going to talk about the. I'm actually going to end up talking about the Discord real quick. This will be the first time I end up talking about the Discord and what's going to end up being in there. How you can be able to be a part of the community. I'm super excited to be able to get this stuff done. I'm going to be honest. About a couple weeks ago, I had no idea. Well, I knew what Discord was, but I had no idea on how to be able to use it, function it, or do anything else like that. But ultimately, it's just like any other community. It's just like any other thing that you've ever done, or any other thing that we've ever done. It's just another way of being able to have everyone communicate with each other and have a lot more news and stuff like that to be able to get put together. That's what I like to see. I like to see downward movement, um, uh, especially when everybody's straight into the downside. Hopefully, everybody can be able to make some money off of that, or it keeps on doing that, so everybody can be able to make some money off of that. Um, let's see. XRP. All right. So the one thing that I automatically notice is this. There's a counter trend line break that has been broken to the upside. So the market is bullish. Um, Ultimately, it is bullish. We're getting a retest of that candlestick formation once again. That's a very good thing. Um, because remember, when there's a breakout, typically there end up being a retest. So I would like for the market to be able to keep on retesting this overall movement overall. And to be honest, I think I might pull the trigger on some on Ripple as well. Uh, I would like for it to be able to fall down to this natural past resistance turn future support of this consolidation box right here. If that happens, then I'll go ahead and I will look at being able to add on, or I'll look at being able to get in the Ripple. I haven't gotten the Ripple in God knows when. It's been so long. Uh, I would like to be able to see that trade actually happen. So I would like to see the market fall back down to 30.39. I'm just going to say 0.39, but it's so many different numbers. But I would like for the market to be able to fall down to that point, retest, hold, and then after that pop up to the upside. If it does, then my stop loss will be below 0.30, and I'll try to hold it for a long-term move to the upside. That is the simple yet repeatable strategy that you can be able to do. The one thing that I don't like is how parabolic this movement is going to the downside. What is happening? Because we're getting a lot of movement on everything. There's something that's done came out. Chinese wine after weakness of 14 years. Asian market dips, slips out the S&P, falls up the 2-year low. Uh, okay. Let's see. What is Bloomberg saying? Hurricane Ian is shaping up to be the most costly to U.S. storms. Um, so, okay, Apple ditches iPhone production increase after demand falters. Okay. So one thing in mind, and how you can be able to use news to your advantage. Now, typically I say news lies, and I truly do believe that the news really does lie in most of the stuff that you end up taking a look at when it comes down to most of the information that may be put out. However, anytime that there's a hurricane or any type of news that may end up coming out, especially when it comes down to the U.S. areas, answer this question: What um, what pair out of the big three typically goes up in value? If y'all remember, the big three is the United States dollar index, it is oil, and it's gold. Which one typically goes up in value? Oil. It's typically oil, mainly because if you're going to end up having a hurricane, then that means that, especially that people inside of that area, they're going to start looking at being able to travel out and try to get away from that area, right? There'll end up being an increased demand of people that are looking at being able to, there'll be an increased demand of people that are looking at being able to use oil and save oil for certain situations. So even though the oil is at $77 a barrel, and even though I said that I wouldn't necessarily be interested in being able to take that trade, it would not surprise me one bit. It would not surprise me one bit that oil ends up popping up above 80 to 82, depending on what happens overall. And I know I'm just looking at the news and just kind of going based off of that, but I end up seeing something on Friday where they end up saying that I know where I'm at over here that we're probably going to end up getting some pretty nasty weather going into the rest of the weekend. So I would say that that will probably end up being a thing. Um, why is the United States dollar so strong right now? Uh, because it ended up because it was at the end of a R3. I mean, end of a R3 ranking push. Pretty much, it was at the end of the R3 ranking push. Remember, when a market is above the B and it's getting very close to being able to complete the D extension, then typically that what you end up seeing that a little bit later on, where you end up seeing a push basically get to the end of that movement. Then after that, you'll go from there. Currently, right now, I wouldn't put my hands on the United States dollar yet because obviously it's done hit a D extension. And the market went from 12,128 all the way up to 13,350 very quickly. Uh, so you keep in mind, I'm not saying that it would be a bad trade to be able to get in. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be interested in being able to take it. I wouldn't be interested in taking any U.S. based pair yet until there's some type of retracement. But that keeps on going back to what I ended up saying before. If the United States dollar index goes down in value, then typically the indexes go up in value. So that is the one thing that I would kind of be afraid about when it comes down to US 30 and XPX 500. Um, there we go. So let's take a look at these before we get out of here. DAX broke the counter trend line break. We in the trade right here, right now. 15-minute is getting close to being in the buy zone. My only personal fear is that I hope that we don't see this market fall down and then just settle right here, and then after that start to build out another consolidation box. If that does happen, then um, quite frankly, we might be in it for a little bit uh, based off of that movement. But we are in a vortex area, so I will say just keep that in mind as the market kind of continues to trade. Uh, US 30, same deal. I hope that we're just not looking at this market just kind of building another consolidation box and then popping up to the upside. Uh, if it does look like that's about to happen, then I would say just take profit early and then after that just reset your trade again. If you feel very good about your stop loss, then just let it ride out. But I'm hoping not to see a strong push in this next hour to the upside. Um, Lord knows I would like not to see that when it comes down to this movement. Nas, Uh, the market has not went inside of this area and placed us in a trade yet. At least I don't think so. Good, it has not. So we'll see how that kind of reacts. And then after that, XVX 500 got placed ourselves into a trade, but we can see that early, at least early right now, that there may end up being a little bit of a pop up. Now remember, when the 15 minutes in the buy zone, you're talking about an hour worth of movement. So just keep in mind that there may end up being an hour worth of upside movement before ultimately possibly being able to fall back down. As long as it doesn't break these highs, then we should be good to go. Okay. You like what I end up doing? Please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. I do appreciate all of the people that end up hopping inside of this. A lot of people that they done started gaining a lot of strong relationships with when it comes down to this talking about trading. Oh, hold on, let me before I forget. Um, so the Discord is called Trade with Travis. Obviously, it's the course and everything else like that that we end up going through. I'm gonna start sending out the invites and everything else like that for people that may end up being interested. It has three different areas. The first area is called the farm, which is a free access resource material area. You end up getting a lot of technical information that will go inside of that. You end up getting all the economic news that will end up being popped up, essentially from FX Street, Squawk Box, and everything else that will end up helping you out for us that news. You end up getting a library worth of information that will end up having a lot of free ebooks and all other stuff to be placed in. Uh, you have trading terminology that's already set up for you to where it'll be it'll be stock forex terms. It'll end up being stock terms, forex terms, index terms. Anybody else that wants to be an add-on to that. So if people want to be able to kind of know what's happening from a definition standpoint, you'll be able to go from there. Then after that, I'm going to end up having a video of nothing more than this trade patterns. Inside of the private collection will end up being a private collection of ebooks and everything else like that that's being put along with that, including the BIY bootcamp, or if any of y'all, for some of y'all, most of y'all end up going through the bootcamp. For the people that get a part of this, they actually end up having a chance to be able to go through that bootcamp on their own in their leisure. Different trade ideas, the precision point entry trading strategy that we end up doing at the beginning of, I want to say 2020. And then after that, we end up having two different groups. It'll be the inner circle and then it'll be the elite. The inner circle, we end up having pretty much every trade idea. We end up meeting live at least 2 times out of the week. There will end up being different various courses, and y'all end up getting a surprise expert advisor to be able to use. That'll end up being added on to that. The elite gets everything. Essentially, we end up meeting up pretty much at these times, and that ends up including all of the ebooks and private collection stuff, and a couple more expert advisors that y'all end up having y'all chances to be able to get your hands on. The one thing that I truly like that I think that's going to end up being kind of cool is the winner circle, where if you end up having a big win throughout the day and you want to be able to celebrate it, this would be the area where you can be able to place in your overall trade. I think, once again, everyone needs to be celebrated when it comes down to being able to take any type of wins or anything else like that. And I want to make sure that we end up doing that inside of this page. So this Discord is really kind of set up to where you're getting a lot of great education. You're meeting up with a lot of people that think just like you, because it's kind of hard to be able to trade with people. Or it's kind of hard to be able to just find people just in your everyday life that trade, especially the way that I end up trading. So when you do, you want to be able to at least be able to have a conversation with those people, and then be able to go from there. But there we go. That's pretty much it for that. Like I said, if you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. I truly do appreciate that. Help me get that red brand number up when it comes down to YouTube. Hopefully we can be able to do something about that, and hopefully we can be able to make some money off of this movement when it comes down to this market. Hopefully we can be able to see whenever anybody wakes up that this market broke below 30,000, 3620, and all of the other movements to the downside, and we kept on seeing profit from there. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. We did over 50 minutes today, so nice. We ended up doing a pretty good job today. Everyone, I'll see y'all later. Take it easy.